Hey there guys, Mike here, Mike's DVDs and Blu-rays collection is back with another episode. Another episode where I want to focus on some of my favorite actors of all time. And today I want to talk about, I just got a few films now. He's done a bunch of films, guys, don't worry. This isn't the very best of him, but I wanted to focus on Burt Reynolds. And man, he's one of the first movie stars I can really remember as a kid. I mean, I was in love with Smokey and the Bandit when that came out. I loved semis and cars and stuff as a little kid. And I just always remembered Burt Reynolds with his mustache and his laugh and everything like that and everything. So he's one of the first actors that was ever really kind of, made that connection with an actor and stuff and everything. But so here is Smoking the Bandit itself. Speaking of, this is the Blu-ray edition. This is the 40th anniversary edition. This has been released multiple times. I think it's on 4K now even. But what can I say about this? This has to be one of my favorite movies of all time. Smoking the Bandit just never gets old. It just never gets old. Seeing that Trans Am and the Snowman's semi-rig, man, just never get tired of seeing those rides. I mean, Jerry Reed as the Snowman, his buddy, great performance by him. Of course, Sally Field, excellent, and Jackie Gleason. It's got a great cast, I mean, in here. Now, this was the first movie, I believe, directed by stuntman Hal Needham. And they would go on to work together a few times, him and Burt and everything. But yeah, I just thought I would show some of Burt Reynolds' movies. And what can I say about Smoking the Bandit that hasn't already been said? I mean, this is a great movie. I thought about spotlighting this by itself to actually talk about stuff I really like about it and everything. It's one of my favorite movies, which I still may do that one day. But yeah, do yourself a favor. If you've never seen Smoking the Bandit, check it out. Now, Smoking the Bandit Part 2, they did the sequel. It's not that bad, but it's not as good as the first one by any means. And then they did like a Part 3 that didn't even have Burt Reynolds in it. Then you got Jerry Reed trying to be the Bandit. He's in like a 1984, 83 Trans Am, the ones that look like Kit from Knight Rider, which was, that was another one of my favorite shows back then, Knight Rider and Kit. And he's got a Trans Am like Kit in this movie, but even as a kid, I really didn't like Part 3 and stuff. But anyway, stick with the first one, is the best one. Check that out if you haven't. Next up, this was a movie I've had in my collection for a long time, and I may have seen this in the past, but I finally got around to watching this. This is this movie turned out to be really funny, really good. Also directed by Hal Needham. This is a movie called Hooper, and Burt Reynolds plays this stuntman, and it's got a lot of in jokes about Hollywood in it, behind the scenes filmmaking and stuff. So he's a stuntman that's been around for a while. Everybody loves him. I mean, he's just like the most famous stuntman in the world. But he's got some young competition encroaching on him in the character played by Jan Michael Vincent, who in a few years he'd be doing Airwolf on TV, another one of my favorite shows as a kid, Airwolf. But yeah, Hooper's really good. I really enjoyed this movie. Again, directed by Hal Needham. It's got Sally Field is in it. She's a welcomed actress in this. I mean, she just goes so well with Burt. Burt Reynolds. And in real life, they were in love with each other. They never got married. And even to his dying day, Burt Reynolds said that he should have married Sally Field. He should have been with her and everything, which was kind of touching and everything. But man, this is a good movie, guys. It's action-packed. It's funny as hell. And it's got the charisma of Burt Reynolds all over it. So do yourself a favor again and check this one out for sure. This was I guess this was a discovery for me and everything. So it's really good. This was made in 78, I believe. So this is the year after Smokey and the Bandit. And next up, we got another film by Hal Needham. Now this movie, I love this movie. And part two when I was a little kid. A lot of this has, you can see when I was a little kid, Burt Reynolds was a big actor back then. I mean, he was all over the place. I mean, people loved Burt Reynolds. I guess he was one of my favorite actors as a little kid, and everything. But man, this is the Cannonball Run, also directed by Hal Needham. And I like this one a lot, and part two. This one's the better one of the two. Just a goofy movie. I mean, it really doesn't have a storyline. It's just these... it's just a collection of, set pieces and little things hooked together to make a movie, and they're just laughing all through it. And you see it's just everybody had a good time on this movie, and you can tell. But yeah, totally politically incorrect nowadays. This would probably never be made. It would never be as funny as this, with Burt Reynolds' charisma, Dom DeLuise, Farrah Fawcett. She was huge back then. Roger Moore, kind of. What was he doing? He's kind of making fun of his 007 James Bond character a little bit, because he was Bond at that time, and he was my Bond. That's who I discovered James Bond was, Roger Moore. But yeah, and you got Dom DeLuise, which he was in a lot of these movies with Burt Reynolds. He's in part two of Smokey and the Bandit. But yeah, it's got the lovely Adrienne Barbeau. It's got a very young Jackie Chan, one of his first American movies. Terry Bradshaw, Mel Tillis, Jamie Farr, Sammy Davis Jr. and Dean Martin as the two drunk priests. This was made through the Golden Harvest movie studio, which was a Chinese, Hong Kong. It was a Hong Kong company, I believe, which were used to doing martial arts movies and stuff. Most famously, some of the Bruce Lee movies from the early 70s, and the producer is Raymond Chow, who's he was that was his company, Golden Harvest and everything, which was really different, which I could see how they got Jackie Chan in the picture and everything that way. But yeah, really cool. Hal Needham. It's just a crazy movie. It really is. And this is an old snapper case, so it's about time to upgrade to the Blu-ray. I think there's a Blu-ray out that's got both 1 and 2 on it. I need to find one day. But yeah, there you go, the Cannonball Run, guys. Awesome. And finally, guys, this is another movie I remember a lot as a kid. Now, this was on TV a lot, and it was funny to be a little kid and be able to say this, to be able to say whorehouse without getting in trouble by your mom. Famously, Burt Reynolds teamed up with Dolly Parton in the best little whorehouse in Texas. That's right, kids. Just cover your ears. Yeah, it's politically incorrect all day, all night long. This has Dolly Parton in it. She was one of the biggest stars at this time. I think the previous year or something, she had did 9 to 5 with I think the same director did 9 to 5, Colin Higgins, and he also directs this. Now, this is a really hilarious movie. I mean, I know I liked it a lot when I was a kid. And it's okay now. I mean, it's semi-musical. It's it's weird. I don't know. It's got Dom DeLuise in it. Charles Durning, Jim Nabors, and of course you got the man himself, Burt Reynolds. Got some songs by Dolly Parton. What's weird, director of photography was William Fraker. So yeah, pretty interesting. But yeah, the best little whorehouse in Texas. So man, all of these movies were like big childhood movies I remember watching all the time as a kid. I mean, Smoking the Bandit, The Best Little Whorehouse in Texas, and The Cannonball Run. These were movies I just watched all the time as a kid, which just completely demented me, which is why I am the man I am today. So there you go, guys. Just a few movies in the huge career of Burt Reynolds. Did a lot of movies. I need to maybe get all of my movies of Burt Reynolds together and show those off. I mean, he was in the movies like I said Gator, and gosh, what's the movie before Gator? Crap, which is really good. I can't think of the name right now. But Burt Reynolds did a lot of good movies. I mean, he hated the movie Navajo Joe, which he went to Italy to work with Sergio Corbucci. He thought he was going to work with Sergio Leone, which had all this prestige at the time, and he was disappointed that he had to be this Indian guy in that movie. But I love Navajo Joe. He hated it. I don't know why. I love it. It's a great movie. Navajo Joe is. So there you go, guys. Just a few movies from Burt Reynolds. I hope you enjoyed this. Let me know in the comments what some of your favorite Burt Reynolds movies. And if you were like me, did you watch those 3 movies I mentioned as a little kid too? I mean, are they just in your memory banks like mine? So anyways, guys, let me know. Check out my channel, and I will be back soon with another episode.